Call Halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Waha Rakak Wadash. Double honors as always to the hopeful elect elders and apostles of the Israelite nation who rule well, namely the hopeful elect elder apostles over at the Great Millstone Church. Peace and many blessings be to the hopeful elect men of the Israelite nation who are scattered amongst the earth, bringing forth the true doctrine of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, namely the brothers that I personally labor with over here in my congregation. Shalom to you, brothers. Peace and many blessings be as well to the rest of the 1/3 of the Israelite nation. Shalom to you all. This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 5, and I'm going to be reading verse 1 through 4 for context. Before I start, this lesson is inspired by a counsel, and this lesson is ultimately going to be concerning you younger brothers in the faith. 1 Peter chapter 5 and 1 reads, "The elders which are among you, I exhort." Just to speak on real quick what's being said here, it says, "The elders which are among you, I exhort." In reality, every camp doesn't have a gray-haired elder that's actually every day leading them that they actually able to deal with. In reality, every camp has an elder brother at the very least, one who is elder in age, elder due to age and experience, or elder just in the spirit, in line with this doctrine. Every camp, we have an elder, one who is leading and doing so by example and according to this doctrine. An elder shouldn't have to declare himself to be an elder. If you're in this truth, you should have enough sense to look and show reverence to the one who is teaching you, the one that you look for to have counsel, the one who's leading your camp and doing those things that actually fit the role of an elder, which we're going to slightly go into here, but again, not the point of the lesson. So we're going to continue reading. 1 Peter 5 and 1, "The elders which are among you, I exhort, whom am also an elder, and a witness of the sufferings of Hamashiach, and also a partaker of the glory that shall be revealed." And obviously, before I move on, the role of the elder goes on far and beyond the things that I said, but I did want to slightly touch on that. Verse 2 says, "Feed the flock of God, which is among you." So that's the job of an elder. That's what he's going to be doing. The one who's teaching, the ones who is setting up order amongst your camp, etc. These are some of the ways that an elder is to feed the flock, according to this doctrine. And it says, taking the oversight thereof, paying attention to the condition of the flock. This is the role. This is the lot of an elder. And it says, not by constraint, but willingly. One who willingly takes on that role, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. One who is ready to bring forth this doctrine. One who is willing to do so. Verse 3 says, neither as being lords over God's heritage, but being ensamples to the flock, an example. That one who is serving as an example to the younger brothers that are among him, who is teaching, leading by example, the one you may perceive to be on fire, bringing forth the lessons, diligently showing forth the understanding of this doctrine and being in line with it. And when the chief shepherd shall appear, and that's speaking about Yahushai, because even the elders have one who is above them, which is getting closer to the point. It says, ye shall receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away. And again, that's briefly going over the role of the elder. The point of the lesson here is in verse 5, though. It reads, likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. That's my major point right there. Ye younger, you must submit yourself to the elder, because there is organization in this truth. There's a hierarchy. There's students and there's teachers. The role of a teacher is to teach, is to feed, is to pay attention to those in the flock. And the role of a student is to learn, is to take heed to that teacher, to listen, and to grow accordingly. And therefore, likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. When you go into the word submission, it goes into accepting or yielding to a superior force. So If you're a student in this thing and you're a younger brother, you got to yield yourself to the elders who are teaching you, the ones who are helping you grow in this truth, teaching you this doctrine. So it's a way that you go about dealing with the elders. You don't treat your elder as if they haven't taught you the things that you know. You ask questions accordingly as questions need to be asked. And you take on the role of a student as one who is studious, diligently wants to learn, but always understanding that you're in the role of one who is submitted. Because again, there's a hierarchy. The hierarchy is being one is more experienced than you. One has a further knowledge, in a point, in his spirit, in his doctrine than you have. Because everyone has to learn. And that's just a part of this doctrine. That's a part of learning and being built up to a point where you're on a level. But this relationship has to be respected. Continue reading. It says, yeah, all of you be subject one to another, which is another point. We are to be subject one to another. A teacher has to take on the role of a teacher respectively, fulfilling his lot, doing those things which we read earlier. And the student is likewise submitting yourself, being in submission to that person who's teaching you, to that person who spends extra hours listening to you, giving you guidance, and doing so again, willingly. You have to take heed to this doctrine. This doctrine tells you and it warns you about knowledge puffing up. Be examining yourself enough to see if that's the case. You don't want to be one who is puffed up and proud. You want to keep your foot when you come in this congregation. Keeping your foot allows for you not to fall. Because the second you lose your footing, you're in line and position to make a fall. And we understand in this truth that a righteous man falls down 7 times, but we're trying to prevent those falls through understanding this doctrine, because this doctrine shows us how not to fall. And we understand a righteous man gets back up. But again, you keep your foot when you come to the house of the Lord. And that's all according to the scriptures. So it says, and be clothed with humility. That's what it's all about. For God resisted the proud. So God is in opposition to the proud, and giveth grace to the humble, to the ones who are bowed down to this doctrine, and again to the order that has been set up for us to follow. Verse 6, humble yourselves therefore under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time. We're going to be exalted in due time. When it's actual time to be exalted, when it's your time to be where you ought to be at, that's where you're going to be at. And it's likewise for the elders and for you younger brothers. Verse 8, be sober. Be sober. We're going to go into the word really quick for sober. And this is in the Greek.
Strong's G 3525. Napho.
All right. It says to be sober, to be calm and collected in spirit. If you have a question that needs to be asked, go about it as a question that needs to be asked, and do so calmly and collected in spirit. You don't come all over the place and bugged out. You come correct. Because, yes, you're supposed to restart and be like children, but no, you're not babies, man. We are men. So that's always expected. Your elder can't always hold your hand and walk you through everything. And if you need to be rebuked, you're going to be rebuked. So you have to stay sober. It says to be temperate, to be dispassionate, to be circumspect. That comes with you analyzing yourself, being circumspect, the decisions you make. And it's a good one down here in the Strong's definition, which is this word, discreet. I'm going to it in the Google really quick here.
Discreet.
It says careful and circumspect in one's speech or actions, especially in order to avoid causing offense or to gain an advantage. So you have to be watching yourself. If you're doing these things, take heed to yourself. Examine yourself to know if you're in this faith the right way. Being discreet goes into being what? Sober. So back to the scripture. So be sober it says be vigilant. When you go into this word vigilant in the Greek,
Strong's G 1127. Gregareo.
right, it says to watch. Metaphorically, give strict attention to. You have to give strict attention to yourself. Give strict attention to what you are learning. Give strict attention to your elder. Give strict attention to what kind of questions you ask, how you ask them, how you going about things, if you're actually learning. Because if you're taking this truth serious, you're going to be doing all these things because it's right here in the doctrine. Give strict attention to. Be cautious. Be active. You actively should be learning. There shouldn't be a point when you're reverting back or going back into your old ways. It says, take heed lest through remission. All right. You don't want to be remising, being on a remission, and indolence, some destructive calamity suddenly overtake one. Again, if you have an elder that you're learning from, a lot of times he's going to be teaching you according to his experience. And through his experience, a lot of times you don't have to bump your head on things that he's bumped his head on because he's already experienced those things. Therefore, if he's wise, that teacher is going to be teaching you in a way that you're not going to bump your head. But a lot of times, this concept is hard for brothers to take, and you want to end up bumping your head by not taking heed to these scriptures. So it says, take heed, lest through remission and indolence some destructive calamity suddenly overtake one. And that's a lot of time how things happen. Not taking heed. So we go read 1 Peter chapter 5 and 8 one more time. Be sober, be vigilant. Why? Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. The devil is trying to take you off a track with this doctrine because he does not want to see you get the prize. So you have to do your job of being studious, taking heed to the doctrine, taking heed to your elders, taking heed to the counsel, taking heed to things you already been through so you can avoid this, because the devil is real and he's walking about as a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. Verse 9 says, whom resisteth steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. You have to understand and realize that everybody is walking on this path. Though we may be in different positions on this path, we're all on the same path. So we're all dealing with these very same things on different levels. So you have to be aware of these things and know that these things exist. We're all going through it. Verse 10 we'll close out here. It says, but the God of all grace, who hath called us unto his eternal glory by Hamashiach Yahushai. We have been called into the truth. You have been called into the order you are in. You have been called in the hierarchy you're in. You have been called to be around the brothers that you are around. Take advantage of your position, whether you be an elder or a younger brother who is coming up in this truth. It says, after that, ye have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you. Because that's what we're all working for. That's what we're all in this truth for. But again, this message is to you younger brothers. Take heed to what you are truly in. Know what this thing is about. I'm just going to say, Lord willing, that this lesson was edifying. Shalom.